Hello, welcome into the Fantasy Thinker. I'm Jared Quartermatch, and today we're going to be doing my August 2024 update. All right, so to get into it, everything that I finished in the month of July. First things first, I finished Children of Ruin by Adrian Tchaikovsky, the second book in the Children of Time trilogy. And I read this with my friends on the podcast, Speculative Speculations. So check that out. And it was good. It was good. It suffers a little bit from second book syndrome, I guess you could call it. And the writing was just as good though as in Children of Time. But some of the story and plot points felt a little too similar from the first book. But I thought they were just different enough to keep it interesting and keep it fun. I thought Tchaikovsky is a very good writer, and it shows. And so ultimately, I think it's worth it. I'm looking forward to eventually getting on to Children of Memory, the third book in the series, and seeing how that goes. All right. I also finished Lord and King, the third book in the Drowned Kingdom saga by P.L. Stewart. I had a great time with Lord and King. I'm really enjoying this series by P.L. Stewart. I think he has a really unique take on a first person saga, up to this point at least. And so I am looking forward to the fourth book eventually, which I believe is called The Lion's Pride. And so I really enjoying this series. It's great epic fantasy. It's a 7 book planned series, so it's not too late to jump on and get into that series now. All right. And so what also did I finish in July? I finished Earth Abides by George Stewart. This is part of the Sci-Fi Masterworks collection and read along that we're doing on pagechewing.com. And this book surprised the heck out of me. It's a post apocalyptic tale written in 1949 that is my favorite post apocalyptic tale. I really enjoyed it. I loved this book. It's probably my book of the month here. Earth Abides by George Stewart. I really thought his story structure was near perfect. His characters were well thought out, and he's a very good poetical writer in some cases, but not when he needs to move the story along. And he just balanced everything beautifully. A beautiful novel that it's definitely my favorite post-apocalyptic novel. It doesn't focus on. It's not science fiction per se. It's actually just what would happen after humanity is mostly wiped out by a virus. So it's very apropos. It's very well done. I highly recommend it. So those were the 3 novels that I finished in July. But I also finished some other stuff, including manga. I read Berserk Volume One of the deluxe editions from Dark Horse Comics, and this was interesting. My son was raving about this book, and I and a lot of other people were raving about this book, and so I gave it a shot and I read it. You know, it's a big, huge, heavy chunker of a book, but it goes very fast. It reads very fast, and it was okay. I it didn't blow me away, um, and I don't know. I'll see about in the future. I might go on. I might not. I'm up in the air about that. It wasn't, I thought it was very well done, but it just really wasn't my thing. Big guy, big sword, big trauma. That's how my son put it, and that's what it is. And I we'll see. It was okay. Well, moving on. I also finished volume 2 of Alan Moore's The Saga of the Swamp Thing. There's a whole collection right there, but this is the second volume. This is really good. really good storytelling. Very, you can tell was written in the '80s just by the structure of the comics and the artwork and stuff. And but Alan Moore was starting to do things in back then that would pave the way for the future of comics, really. So it's really fantastic stuff. So I finished that volume two off. There's I think four more volumes in that collection, and I also read uh, I read The Wandering Star by Janie Wirtz, a short story set in the Wars of Light and Shadow universe. This short story is fantastic. Um, and I really can't say too much about it without giving stuff away, but it is enlightening to the whole story. Um, and her writing was once again is so wonderful to read. And to read in a short story, it doesn't take too long, and it was gripping, it was great, and it was very well done. Very uh, outstanding female lead character in it that was also very well done. So I recommend that story. If you've read any Wars of Light and Shadow, you can read it without worrying about spoilers. At least after Curse of the Mistwraith. Yeah. That was very good as well. So that's stuff I finished in July. In addition to stuff that is ongoing. One thing that's ongoing is I'm reading short stories out of the Swords and Dark Magic collection, um, which is the latest thing I read was a story called "The Deification of Dal Balmor," a tale from Echo City by Tim Leben. Um, and this was about a magistrate or a priest of some sort trying to um, uh, bring a criminal to justice and stop the proliferation of magic by means of bringing this criminal to justice. So it was kind of interesting. It was not the best story in this collection, but interesting, and it was well written. But I've liked better ones from this collection, but all the stories in this collection have been well done, so that you can't go wrong by buying this collection. Swords and Dark Magic, the new sword and sorcery, yeah, and so the deification of Dal Balmor, it was pretty good stuff. All right, and I also am reading a short story every month out of Tales Before Tolkien. And this month I read a short story by William Morris, who was a huge influence on Tolkien. He uses that archaic language, and the story I read in here was very, what was it called? It was called The Folk of the Mountain Door. Um, which was actually published after his death by his daughter, but and it was called and she named the story. It was 1914, even though he wrote it in the 1890s, but it was published in 1914, and it was pretty cool. It was about basically a god coming down to visit a king, and the king and he wants a favor from the king, and the king welcomes in his hall, and the god only speaks in song or poetry of some sort, and so it was it was very archaic and very uh, had to do a lot with the gods, the Norse mythology. So it was pretty cool. Not the best one in there either, but not bad, not bad. I also read a little snippet of another Chinese folk tale from Chinese myths and folk tales, and this one I read was about a Buddhist priest who he dies in his temple, and then when he dies, he goes to this. He travels in death to this other province, and they tell him, "Go back home, and you'll live again." So he does, and he goes back home. He lives again. He's like, I kind of don't like it here, and he goes back to the temple. And when he lives again, he's kind of younger. So when he goes back to the temple, they don't believe him. who he is, and he has to go through this big rigmarole in order to convince them, and then he lives back in the temple again. So it was a little simple little folk tale there, but it was fun. So it was good. And I've read several short stories out of the Big Book of Science Fiction, along with the Speculative Speculations podcast. So check that out as well. Always some good stuff, really going along with the history of science fiction short stories. It's pretty cool. All right. So what am I in the middle of? Oh, I also read the novella The Devil Delivered out of Erickson's collection, The Devil Delivered in Other Tales. I did a review on this. It is outstanding. Check it out. I can't wait to get to the other two novellas in this book eventually, and I'm hoping to have a conversation about this coming up pretty soon, so be on the lookout for that. All right. Um, so I am in the middle of course, my big reread of everything Malazan. I am in the Crippled God. I am in 700 pages down, only 500 to go. This big, chunky book. And what can I say? It's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's my favorite thing ever. This is it. This is it right here. I'm hoping to finish off this rest of these 500 pages in August. That would be wonderful. And if I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. But I hope to do. So I am also in the middle of reading 1984 by George Orwell. This is a classic, and I've finished part one, and I hope to be moving on to part two probably sometime this week, and finish. I'm not going to finish it off this week. So it's there's a reason it's a classic. It has all the themes that you want in a book. That's a classic. It's 1984. It really hits hard in a lot of the right places because we still got to worry about this kind of thing today, and so it's really good so far for that. Uh, Honestly, I find the writing a little boring sometimes. He's not the most fun, dynamic writer. And of course, it's probably not supposed to be that way. So, but very important book, very good. I am also in the middle of Trader's Knot by Janice Wirtz, and this is book 7 in the Wars of Light and Shadow. Such an awesome series. It's part of the Alliance of Light arc, book 4, and yeah, this is starting out with a bang, and it's just the hits just keep coming. And I've read the first 150 pages in here, and I'll be discussing those 150 pages, I think, next week sometime. So keep an eye out for that. It's awesome. And I'm also in the middle of Red Shirts by John Scalzi. It's fun. It's humorous. It's of course, a spoof on Star Trek and in all shows like that. And I'm almost done my assigned reading for the week because we're going over this on Speculative Speculations podcast as well. And what can I say? It's not too deep. I don't think it's fun. It's amusing. We'll see. We'll see how it ends before we pass judgment on it. But it it's a good time. I'm having a good time reading it. It's fun. How come? All right. How many more times can I say it's fun? All right. So what else we got here? Yeah, that's everything that I'm in the middle of that I've read. I know for a fact that I will be getting to sometime this month. I'll be getting to Philip K. Dick's Martian Time Slip. Don't know what to expect from that, but it's fairly short. It's only about 260 pages, so that's going to be cool. I'll be getting to that sometime in August. All right, and I think that's everything for now. I do hope to get to some other books that I got stacked up over here that I'm don't know which one yet, but I do want to get to those. All right, and I think that's it for the month. So tell me what you did for July, what you're going to do for August. Let me know down below. Like and subscribe, and be good to each other, please. And thank you.